The RLCS 22-23 season is finally here almost. The first regional starts this Friday in NA, and these are the 16 teams that qualified. On the left column is the 8 teams that qualified from the top 16 qual, and on the right column is the 8 teams that qualified from the closed quals. And it's the order of seeding is that first place from top 16 gets to play the worst team, which would be the last place of the closed quals. So SG gets to play the worst team because they were the first in top 16 quals. All right, so the first match, SSG versus Seoul. I think that SSG easily take this 3-0, not 30-0. 3-0. The Swiss is best of 5, and then the playoffs are best of 7. So keep that in mind. Next in round 1 is V1 versus LG. Now I'm gonna say V1 win this slightly because they've just been a roster for longer, and LG has not looked the best. And moving on from there, G2 versus Team Axel. Team Axel is the old Oxygen roster of Gimmick and Toasty, but they have Ajax now. And I think that G2 easily take this 3-0. This one's interesting. Furia versus Complexity. Now, I think Furia is overall a better team, like most people probably think. And they just moved in from SAM to NA. So I think they still need time to get used to playing in NA, as we saw, because they dropped out top 16 qual and had to make it through closed quals. So they didn't have the cleanest run to get here, but they still made it relatively comfortably. So I think that Complexity this time, this regional will probably take this 3-2. Next, Optic Gaming versus Pittsburgh Knights. I think Optic takes this easy. I'll give Pittsburgh Knights one game. And then FaZe versus Gen.G is interesting too because on paper Gen.G should be amazing, but they also dropped down to closed quals. And FaZe just looks too good for Gen.G right now because Gen.G also moved in from a different region. They moved in from EU, or 2/3 of their roster. Only one is from NA, so they probably still need time to get used to NA, and I don't think they'll do the best this first regional, but they can pick it up next regional, I think, and do a lot better. So I'm gonna give this FaZe 3-1. And Rogue versus Shopify. This one is interesting, but I'm gonna give it to Shopify with a close 3-2. And then Dignitas versus NRG. NRG is just confusing because it looks like they're just done and then they somehow managed to stay alive. And they came out of the closed quals in first. So I don't know if they're back and if they're gonna be good for a while again, or if that was just a one-off thing. So I don't know if I can believe in them. So I'm just gonna give it to Dig 3-2, but I think Energy can easily take this. It could go either way there. Alright, round 2 matches. SSG versus Shopify. I think this. Actually, no. I'm gonna start off with low. I'm gonna start off with the low. Rogue versus Soul. Rogue takes this, I think. Soul, I do not think they have much of a chance. Energy versus Team Axel. Energy takes this. I'll make it 3-2, just because I do not know what Energy is gonna be like. Furia versus Pittsburgh. I'll give this one to Furia. I know I said they weren't gonna be used to NA yet, but they can still take teams down. Like, it's not just like they're gonna lose everything. I'm just saying, like, the top teams they probably will struggle against a lot more than they usually would. Like we saw at majors where they dominated pretty much some major teams from other regions. I'll make this 3-1 actually. Okay, Gen.G versus Luminosity. I think Gen.G take the same case for them with Furia. They're still good base level, and They do need time to get better, but right now they could probably take down LG. I'll make it close 3-2. Alright, moving on to round 2 high matches. SSG vs Shopify, I think it's easy. 3-1, I'll give it a game to Shopify. G2 vs Dignitas, I also think it's easy. 3-1, same thing there. G2 is just too good. Optic vs Complexity, I'm going to give this to Optic 3-2. I think it'll be close, but I think Optic has higher potential, probably. And then last round, round 2, FaZe and V1. I think V1 cannot beat FaZe that easily. I think it'll be 3-1 probably in favor of FaZe. All right, round 3. Now teams are starting to get eliminated. LG versus Seoul. I think Seoul is not going to be able to perform that well here. I'm going to give it 3-1 to Luminosity. Team Axel versus Pittsburgh. I think Team Axel takes this. Pittsburgh is going to be out. 3-1. Round 3 mid now we got. Complexity versus Genji. I think this would be a really good matchup. It'd be really close. 3-2, but it's hard to say which team takes it. Barely. Right now I'd give it to Complexity just because Genji's shaky performance before. But I'm not sure. It could go either way. V1 versus Energy. This one's interesting, but I have to give it to V1. They're just more established right now because Energy is shaky and their performance is just kind of all over the place. I'll give it to him 3-1. Dig versus Rogue. I think Dig take this 3-1. Fury versus Shopify. This one, Furia lost to Shopify in the close quals 1 round. And it was game 5, I believe. So I think Fury is going to get their revenge 3-2. Round 3 high. These are the interesting matches. These are when it gets like best of the best. SSG versus Optic. Red Bulls versus Arsenal. Again, I don't know. I think SSG are the favorites, and I've predicted Optic against SSG before, and I'm gonna do it again. Not 4, 3-2. Really close matchup, but I think Optic takes it this time. G2 versus Fade. This is just like it's a coin flip pretty much. Either one of them could take it, but I'm gonna go with G2. Very close 3-2. 20-minute overtime probably. Alright, that's round 3 done. Round 4. Rogue versus Team Axel. More teams are going to be eliminated here. I think Team Axel will be able to stay alive here. And LG, NRG. This is where it's just a coin flip again. NRG, I have no idea how they're going to do. I can see LG just taking this 3-2. Sorry, Energy's gonna have to be eliminated here. I don't think they make it to playoffs in the first regional. And then final match for round 4, Genji with Shopify. I think Genji barely take it 3-2. Round 4 high. Some more interesting matchups. SG versus Dig. I think SG take this pretty easily, 3-1. FaZe Complexity. I think this is gonna be actually closer than people think. 3-2 for FaZe though. FaZe is would still be able to beat Complexity right now, I feel like. V1 versus Furia. Now this is where Furia, I feel like, would hit a roadblock and would not be able to take down V1 here. But it would still be really close. Game 5. Because Furia still needs to settle into NA. Alright. Last round of Swiss. It's make or break here. Furia versus Team Axel. I think Furia will make it to playoffs. Barely. 3-2 against Team Axel. And I think Complexity will also make it to playoffs. 3-1. I'll give it 3-1 to Complexity. I don't think LG will be able to put up that much of a fight. And then last round of Swiss. Dig versus Genji. Apparently Jack versus his old Dignitas team, except it's not any players of that team. It's just the org. So, yeah, Genji, I think they'll be able to win this 3-2, really close. Alright, these are my results for the Swiss. I have Seoul finishing last. I think that's reasonable. The only things here that I think could be different are Energy could make top 8, but I'm not sure how they're going to play at all. And Furia and Genji could also bomb out, and it's unpredictable right now. But yeah, those are the results. G2 finishes first. I don't think that's that surprising. All right, now we move on to the playoffs. This is where it gets even more interesting. Single elim bracket, best of sevens. G2 versus Genji. That's unlucky. That's an unlucky matchup for Genji because I think that G2 right now would be able to take this 4-2. Not too much. It's not going to be too close, I don't think. And the team that will be going to face G2 in the semis, FaZe or V1? I think this is going to be FaZe easily. Oh, not 3. I keep doing 3. I'm just stuck in the best of 5 mindset. I think it'll be 4-1. Not that close. And then Optic versus Fury. This is going to be really, really interesting because I think both these teams are really good. But right now, I'm going to have to give it to Optic. I'll give it 4-3. Really close matchup. And then we have SSG versus Complexity. This is going to be close, but I think SSG takes this right now. 4-2-3. I'll make it really close, just like the Optic match. Okay, and then now the semifinals, G2 versus FaZe. This is going to be a repeat of what we had in my Swiss, I believe, I think. Last time I had G2 winning, and I'll give it to FaZe this time, but a really close Game 7 nail biter. FaZe makes the grand finals of first regional. Sounds not too unbelievable. And then Optic versus SSG again, just more repeats, more repeats. I think that SSG will take the win here. I can't predict Optic winning every single time. I'll make it a really close 4-3. The grand finals, FaZe versus SSG. I think that the team to take it is going to be SSG. No, I think FaZe are gonna take it really close. Actually, not that close. I'll say 4-2. Not a game 7 though. Not a game 7 nail biter. And that's it. I have FaZe winning regional 1. Considering their roster, I think that's not too far off of what can happen. Yep, these are my predictions for the first regional of fall. Tell me what you guys think down below in the comments about who you think is going to win the first regional of the fall split. And thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you.